Yo, what's going guys? And yeah, I'm finally back in the video, and today I'm going to be showcasing you guys on one of my favorite decks to play in current standard, and honestly the only new deck that I've probably built this year, which is the main boy, Estacion itself. And yeah, let's get straight into the video. So before I touch up on my current deck list that I run, I quickly want to talk about the gimmick of this deck, which is the Blast token. And yeah, this card is honestly a bonkers of a card. It's just so good. It has so much value, and the best part is it just flat out cannot be removed. And by being able to sack 2 rear guards minimum and maximum 3 rear guards, and then just draw a card once per turn, and also for every 3 cards in the plan gauge underneath the Blast token, your farm with this gets 15k. Is really crazy. But however, you are only able to start gaining power once you reach grade 3. So yeah, this card honestly I would say is a significant game changer. It's basically the Grand Fiesta's the flower token, but it's a lot better. And as much as I would love to say that this card is purely invincible, Dragon Empire is really a nightmare, because there are a lot of players these days that just run like one or two copies of that very early, I think it was BT2. There's this one order that just straight up like lets you attack the back row. If your opponent attacks into this token and you don't guard it, it's pretty much GG. And of course, it gets removed if it dies through battle, which is very funny. Thanks Bushiroad for leaving that in. Just so as Estacion players, we have to waste a shit ton of hand just to guard our main gimmick. Thanks. So I'm gonna start off with the right line here, which is just gonna be just the regular one. There's no way you can change it, is mainly because the grade 1 requires you to Soul Blast the original Estacion to get the Blast token when you ride on top of the grade 2, and the grade 2 will search you an order card if you ride on top of, if this card is run on top of by a Estacion with grade 3. So this right line just cannot change at all if you do want to play on the Blast token, and why would you anyway? And yeah, this overall, like, this right line, there's not really much to talk about. Token generator, order searcher, which is the Vital Blaze Blast, and yeah, that's pretty much it. But the Vanguard itself is pretty bonkers, is mainly because it doesn't have any on-place ride, but it has activated abilities. So its first ability is once per turn, when this unit generates a token, instead of it going to the rear guard circle, it goes underneath the Blast token. And its ability is you can blast 1. You check top 3 cards of your deck and you choose a card amongst them and add it to your hand. But if you have 6 or more cards in your Blast token, you are able to check top 5 instead of top 3 and then add 1 amongst them to your hand. And its other ability just allows you to multi-attack by discarding 2 cards from your Blast token and search your deck or drop for a card with Blast in its trait and then call it to the rear guard circle. If you did search through your deck, you shuffle your deck. So, and honestly, I feel like this Vanguard is definitely an S tier Vanguard, is mainly because you're able to add any card in your deck to your hand from the top 5, and also it's a multi-attacker on its own, so you don't have to rely on any rear guards to multi-attack, which is why I think this Vanguard does make sense why it's currently a really strong contender in meta. And I also forgot to mention that Estacion is a really strong deck, is mainly because it scales on the Blast token as well. So if you do Persona Ride, yikes, it's a that is a minimum 25k front row. So yeah, it's just really insane. I just love this deck, and I just wanted to quickly add that in before I go to the grade 3s. And yeah, so for the grade 3s, I run 3 copies of course the Persona Ride, because Persona wins you games, and 2 copies of the Winter Dragon. So I've seen a lot of players that just flat out cut out the Winter Dragon, which I do understand, because the card is quite obsolete at the early game, and a lot of people built the Estacion deck around early game, so it does make sense why they don't want to run this at all. And also, even if this card is in your hand, you're not able to do anything until turn 3 anyways. I mean, you can use this card for the guard skill, but there are also of course better alternatives to that, such as you just run more copies of token generators, or you just run more copies of things that can just reoccur, or even you can run the energy cyclers. But yeah, a lot of people just really don't run this at all, or even just craft to 1. But I personally like it at 2. It's mainly because I just really love the idea of it being able to give a crit on its own, and also it has protection as long as you have 5 or more cards in the plant token. So I mean in the as long as you have 5 or more cards in the blast token. So yeah, I would say it's really up to you guys if you guys want to run it on, but for me, I just really like the idea of having a 2 crit rear guard when I use Estacion's ability to call it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And for the grade 2s, I run 4 copies of the promo Meldis. So Meldis is essentially a staple, unfortunately, in this deck. Is mainly because if you call this out either from your hand or you call it through your order card, the gimmick order, which is Vital Blaze the Busto, which I'll cover in the order section. Yeah, this card just does a lot. It basically deck thins you, like, it guaranteed deck thins you a card, and it can either call out a unit that's a grade lower than your Vanguard or equal to, or it adds a normal order card from amongst the top 5 to your hand. And it also stuns your opponent's rear guards as well. So, and it also gives power as long as you're able to fulfill this stun requirement. So I feel like this card is really good, and this card is the main reason that makes Estacion really difficult to guard against or play against, is mainly because this card not only melts the deck, so deck thinning is deck winning, it also stuns your opponent's rear guard, so they cannot intercept, nor they can restand during their stand phase, which is really crazy. And at first I thought on paper it looks really weak, but with the amount of power this deck goes up to, your opponent will barely have any cards in their hand, and then during their stand-up phase, they're not able to restand the rear guards, which is a really feels bad. So therefore, yeah, I really love this card, and I always keep it at 4 copies. And the other grade 2 that I run is 4 copies of the Autumn Dragon. So this card is, I would just say it out right now, this card is the potential 5th attack of the deck. So right now, currently Estacion on its own is only able to produce 4 attacks. But if you do call out the Autumn Dragon, you're able to call out 5 attacks. It's mainly because its ability is, when it's called in the rear guard circle, you can just straight up generate a time token. So if you do attack with 2 rear guards first, and attack with Van, you use Estacion's ability to call out the Autumn Dragon, and then you use Autumn Dragon's ability to call out another pine token on the other rear guard circle. It just creates another bar in the field, so this card is really versatile. That's why I really love it at 4. And also, it's a really good fodder for your blast tokens to eat, I guess. And its other ability is, in the drop zone, if a card is put into the blast token or in the plan gauge, you're able to discard blast one and call this card from the drop zone to the field. And last but not least, I run 2 copies of the Summer Dragon. Summer is almost here, but yet I still only want to run 2 copies of this card. It's mainly because this card's ability is not really, I wouldn't say is as good as the other Weather Dragons, but I do see people running maybe 4 copies of this rather than me right now with the 2 splits of the Winter and Summer. And the reason why I have it in this kind of split is mainly because I want to run a bits of everything of the Weather Dragons. So its ability is, it's just as exact same as Meldis, but instead of Meldis needing to pay 2 energy to stun, this card basically stuns for free as long as you fulfill the requirements. So, and its requirement is when it's placed by an effect. So when it's placed by an effect and you have 3 or more in your plan gauge, which definitely will, just stun one of your opponent's rear guard, cannot intercept, nor it can restand. And that is honestly a really good card, because just being able to superior call and then stun something is literally what you want to do to your opponent. Just make their day as miserable as possible. And its other ability is basically a stat stick ability. Rear guard on Guardian Circle, it gets 5k power, 5k shield. So yeah, I feel like this card is honestly a very underrated card, but I still feel like the need to run at least 2 copies. Overall, I just really think 2 copies for the Summer Dragon is good enough for me. So that's pretty much it. And for the grade 1s, I run 4 copies of the Bura Mushrooms, obviously. It's mainly because this card is really good. It gives you a soul, it gives you 2 rear guards for your blast token to sack, and this deck uses a lot of soul, so having a way to put cards into soul by themselves is so good. That's the reason why, like, I love this card. This card, I still don't understand why they only gave 3 copies of it in the starter deck. Luckily, I was able to snatch a copy because this card is currently, you know, it's going out of crisis, man. I literally cannot find it. Like, this card is literally the promo version. It's not even the booster version as well. So yeah, I'm so glad that like I have a 4th copy. But yes, this card definitely at 4. No questions asked. Just straight up, if you see 4 copies of this, or if you see another copy, and you guys are getting your hands in the starter deck, just buy it. Straight up, just buy it right now if you guys are gonna play this deck. And yeah, so 4 copies of this is really nice. And I also run 3 copies of Elvina. I don't like this card in this deck as much, if I'm really being honest. It is a really good card because it revives you a grade 1, and it also brings in an order card from the drop zone to your hand if you pay 3 energy. But it only procs if you place it from hand, and it cannot be placed by any effects. It just has to be placed by hand. So yeah, this card, the timing of it is very restrictive, and you also have to pay 3 energy for it, which I don't really mind it, but it's just that sometimes when you play this deck and then you see this card really early, you kind of go, oh, Alvina, that's pretty cool, but you can't really do much with her as well, because when you use the order card, it goes into the blank tank gauge, so you can't even recycle the order. And if you recycle the brewer mushrooms and you soul blast it, you do call it out, your field's already kind of full for you to put in the soul to do it again. So yeah, I feel like Alvina is a really awkward card for me. I don't really like it, but it's mainly because it's very versatile. That's why I like keeping it at 3 copies. And the 4th one, I removed it for 2 copies of the Spring Dragon. So for the Spring Dragon, at first when I read this card, I was like, oh, this card's terrible. Like, damn, pay 3 energy to create a token. Well, little did I know, this whole time when I was playing this deck, I was always missing one damn plan token. Always missing like one of these bad boys right here. Every time I play this game, I'm always missing one token. So I was like, you know what? I'm tired of this shit. I'll just remove one Alvina and just run one more copy of the Spring Dragon. So therefore, yeah, I don't know. Like for me, when I play this deck, I just really do not like sacking any of the 2 cards here. I just really prefer to sack tokens so that it maximizes my field. There are so many times where I'm just missing that one rear guard for me to have the perfect front row power, but because I'm sacking that one less extra card, when I do use Estacion's ability, my front row will lose that extra 5k just because of my carelessness. So therefore, yeah, I really feel like this card is definitely I wouldn't say it's a 4-0, but I would definitely say it's a really important card at the right time, if I'm being honest. But yeah, this is pretty much it for the grade 1s for the normal units, and of course the regular 4 PGs, and one of them is the Elementario. So for the order slots, of course, you gotta run 4 copies of the Vital Bereza Busto. So this is the main gimmick of the deck. It's really good. It does all of it in one card. Like, this card has 3 skills. Like, damn. And this card is really, I wouldn't say it's broken. It's more like this card just does everything for the deck. It's mainly because its ability is, when you play this order card, you pay the soul, right? You pay 1 soul to play this order card, cool. But once when you play this order card on standby, this card will go underneath the blast token, and you check top 5 cards of your deck, and you call any card. It doesn't even have to be Basto, Weather Dragon, just straight up any card from amongst the top 5 that's equal to your Vanguard's grade or lower, and call to the regular circle. And then if you do not call anything, you can create a plant token. So no matter what you do, you will always have 1 body on the field, either for your blast tokens to be sacked, or you have an extra attacker on the field or booster. But not just that, because of the way how this card is worded, when this card goes into the plant gauge, you're able to have the option to proc off the Autumn Dragon. So that's why this card, I would say, is probably one of the most important cards in your deck. And it's already really good, right? But its other secondary effect is what makes this card way better than any other original orders in the game. And what I mean by that is, usually when an order is used, you have cards like Mask of Hidragoon, like Twin Cast. They have effects, but they activate from drop. But for this card, it activates in the plan gauge. It's mainly because when this card is underneath the blast token, and you use Estacion's ability to discard it, and when this card is discarded from the plan gauge, you can choose one of the units with blast in their name and then give it 5k power. So you're able to discard 2 of them, and you're able to give any of the units 5 to 10k power. That is really good, if I'm really being honest. And the other order card that I run is order card that I run is the Ghost Chase. Yeah, this card, I mean, as you can see, it's shiny, so I pulled this card from the starter deck, and yeah, I love this card a lot. It's mainly because I'm just doing a little bit of Night Rose thing here If you guys know what I mean, is I use Divinez ability, pay the 3 energy, call a PG, and if my opponent does not have anything that retires, when they attack, Ghost Chase, add the PG to my hand, and then done. Just like that. So I'm able to fetch a PG, but however, of course, that's not really the main gimmick of the deck. It's mainly just that Ghost Chase might be helpful if I do want to keep that rear guard into my hand and potentially use it either for guarding or maybe for persona rides, or maybe even for next turn's counter attack. There are some games where I had to use Estacion's ability to call out Estacion itself because I didn't have any more red dragons in my deck. So if my opponent does not really pay attention to this Estacion, I can just Ghost Chase it and then persona ride it again. So therefore, yeah, I really love this card. And Ghost Chase, I would say, it's literally my pet card. I love this card. No matter what story care deck am I gonna play, I will always have a copy of Ghost Chase no matter what. And lastly, I run a copy of Fire Regalis. I don't really think this Regalis piece is the most optimal one in the deck, but I'll definitely tell you it's better than Twin Cast. I do like Twin Cast, but I don't really. This deck doesn't really care about shield. It cares about repopulating the board, because you need to always sack 3 rear guards to the blast token. So if you run out of burrow mushrooms, or if you just run out of ways to create plant tokens, sometimes you just gotta sack your field to draw 3. And if you do have a empty field, by having something like Fire Regalis in your drop zone, just straight up proc it, it's really good because it guarantee calls your card. It's mainly because I do like the idea of running Twin Casts, but I already have Ghost Chase and the Elementaria that eats the Blitz Order slots. So now I'm not saying that you should not run it at all. I'm just saying that in my personal playstyle, I just really don't use Twin Cast as much compared to Fire Regalis. So therefore, yeah, I just want to be able to consistently call out a full field as much as possible. And last but not least, the trigger lineups: 8 crit, 3 soul fronts, 4 heal, and then 1 red OT. Yes, I know, red OT is not really the best OT to run in the deck, but I'm just mainly missing that one extra attack in the deck to fully secure the victory. There's just so many times in my games where if I just had one more attack, I would have won that game. Just one more attack, if I would have won that game. And every time I check the store KOT, yes, it draws me 2 cards, it heals me damage, it buffs the front row, which is crazy, and it also gives a crit as well. It's a really good OT, but none of that matters if your opponent can just PG all the upcoming attacks. Mainly because this deck, it hard caps you like attacking only 5 times at most if you do use the Autumn Dragon. But the Autumn Dragon's power is so low, so you need to rely on your blast tokens to give enough power for you to finish off games. That's the reason why I run red OT, is mainly because even though if my opponent does PG with that one attack with 100 million, another 100 million is coming in. So unless if my opponent plays like pure on defensive hostage, or like just straight up has infinite ways to recycle PGs, then there's no way they're gonna survive. And honestly, like having a way to end games like that is more important than generating a lot of value from this that 1 OT, in my opinion. In fact, Estacion is a really aggro deck to begin with, so having a way to push in that extra aggro is what I'm really looking for here. And I did try using the purple OT, but it's kind of awkward, is mainly because if I do have 2 more attackers left and use the purple OT, I do heal damage, but the card that I'm going to be calling is definitely going to be at the back row. So yeah, I really prefer the red OT because it's way more stable, it's way more consistent. And I run the soul fronts is mainly because this deck needs a lot of soul. It has so blast token, or vital based blast token that uses soul already, and also Maldus uses soul. So yeah, I need a lot of ways to generate soul as well, and that's pretty much it for my trigger lineups. And so yeah, that's pretty much it for this video, and please let me know what you guys think about this deck profile. I've been really enjoying this deck a lot lately, so let me know what you guys think about this deck list, and let me know if you guys think if there's any changes needed. And yeah, I'm always happy to look at the comments. And thank you guys so much for watching this video. I will be back with potentially more gameplays, but other than that, like, that's pretty much it for this video. And thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys very soon. Take care. Peace.